On special demand of our viewers, today we have come up with another interesting and highly informative session on artificial intelligence, how it is rewiring our lives, what are the challenges of AI, and what ethical practices we can incorporate to make sure a better and safer AI. But and to discuss about it, today we have with us founder and CEO AI Beehive, Rupa Singh. But before starting the session, I would request our viewers to please like and follow all the platforms of WWDC on Facebook, Insta, and LinkedIn, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube so that our efforts could reach to the maximum number of audience. So let's welcome to our guest. Welcome to Win-Win Talk, Rupa.
Hi Poonam, thank you for inviting, and it's really great to have you here.
Rupa, I would like to first know about what do you call artificial intelligence? Is it a revolution or an innovation? And what is the story behind AI and robotic automation?
That's a very interesting question, Poonam. So we all think that AI is the invention of modern era, but the fact is AI is not the invention of modern era. But what if I tell you that artificial intelligence is not the revolution, it's not the invention of modern era, but it is the realization of our ancient imagination. And we have lots of mythological narratives describing from many different cultures. And the first, even in India, we can trace the mythological story from our very Pushpak Viman from Ramayana. And the Pushpak Vimana was the first flying craft that was described. And as you know the story of Pushpak Viman, it was created by Lord Vishkarma and gifted to Brahma, the god of creator. And later what happened that Brahma gifted this Pushpak Viman to Kuber, the god of wealth, in order to help him to roam around the entire planet and spread the wealth and prosperity. And Ravan, he stolen this Pushpak Viman and used the same Pushpak Viman in order to abduct Mata Sita and took her to the Vatika. And then after
That means artificial intelligence exists in our culture since the era of Ramayana and Mahabharata.
Exactly. And we also have many narratives in Greek and Roman as well as in China, in ancient China. And also in Greek, we have the first robot, which was Talus, and it was a bronze metallic robot, giant robot, and its work was to prevent the island of Crete from the invaders and visitors. So what it would do is it would roam around the city of Crete 3 times in a day, and to protect the island from invaders, and it will throw boulders at them, and the Talus will heat himself red hot, and by holding them in his arm, and this is how it used to protect. And then later what happened that around 1495, Leonardo da Vinci, he created the self-propelled car, and it was being able to move without being pushed. And the self-propelled car, what it would do is it would roam around the city of Florence to provide and deliver fruits and vegetables door to door. And then later what happened that NASA, it took the inspiration from this Leonardo da Vinci's invention, and it created, with the help of engineers and scientists, NASA created the first flying machine, Wright brothers, and that was being inspired by Leonardo's inventions.
Right. So
As you can see,
how artificial intelligence is rewiring our lives?
well, as artificial intelligence is definitely rewiring our lives. It has already started continuing to permeate into our lives, the way we are doing shopping, buying, or the way we are interacting with each other, as well as the way we are working on, the way we look at the social media feed, right? So in all the aspects, artificial intelligence is rewiring our lives, as well as you can see that AI is already oiling the wheels of every businesses and every industries, whether it is healthcare or finance or also in terms of mental health issues, the way it is diagnosing our diseases, and for the self-driving cars. So definitely it is rewiring our lives.
Rupa, with the emergence of artificial intelligence, there is a challenge and a fear in the public's mind. Like, will the evolution of artificial intelligence lead to the end of humanity?
Okay, that's a very interesting question, Poonam. And as the technology is growing at such a fast rate, and the way we can comprehend these technologies, also there lies a lot of uncertainty and fear with these kind of powerful technologies. And if these technologies are not handled in a proper way, handled in a more conscious way, then definitely there can be a catastrophic effect. So do we actually need to be scared about technology? Do we actually need to be scared about machines? Then I would rather say no. What we actually need to be scared about is our own intentions. And because the machines, as you know, that machines do not have any objectives or any intentions of its own to create harm to human beings or other lives in on the planet, right? It is our human intentions that is the real cause of the problem. And if we drill down to the real cause, so what we see here is the value alignment problem, and that can be very well described by Norbert Wiener in 1960. And what he said is very interesting. He said that the purpose that we put into the machine, we need to be very sure about the purpose that we put into the machines should be aligned with our values and our purpose in a collective way, and not specifically for one or two people, or not for a certain group of people, but it should have a collective purpose, collective purpose of all the human beings. And as we know that the human beings have they come from diverse backgrounds, right? There is so much of diversity in terms of the demographic, in terms of religion, in terms of their thoughts, their preferences and economies, the cultures, right? And so the machines has to trade off all the different biases, all the different preferences in order to have a collective motives.
So how can it be compatible for the humans?
How can it be compatible for humans is by being if we develop machines that are designed in a way that that's only purpose, whose only purpose is to serve human beings for their benefit. So we need to work with machines. We do not need to compete with machines, but we need to work in collaboration with these powerful technologies to eradicate the most pressing problems such as poverty, or the lack of natural resources, the climatic problems, and even the world peace. And we can only do when we align our values, or we align the values of machines with the value of humans. And you might have known about the story of King Midas. And the King Midas, he once wished that everything he touches should turn into gold, and he exactly got what he wished for. Right?
Right.
So his food, his drink, his relatives, they all turned into gold, and the king died in misery and starvation. So what we see here is a value alignment problem, and if we do not give the right purpose and values to the machines, and that can lead to a catastrophic results.
Right. Rupa, how Buddhist teaching can be incorporated in the fabric of AI ethics to ensure a safe AI?
That's right. Poonam, actually, Buddhism has a lot of contribution. The teachings of Buddhism has a lot of contribution in ethics. And first, if we understand if AI is a good thing or if AI is a problem, then actually it is called as gorilla problem, right? So what is gorilla problem is creating something which is more powerful than your own species, creating something which is more intelligent than your species. So if you ask gorillas, that was that a good thing that happened millions of years ago, and as we have evolved from gorillas, right? So the gorilla would be very upset about it, and they have the existential crisis. And so definitely creating something which is more intelligent than our own species can lead us to existential crisis, and when some of the important principles are not incorporated in place. For example, Buddhism teaches compassion, and we need to be compassionate with other living creatures and other human beings, as well as the living creatures who are sharing the planet with us. And whatever we design or whatever the product that we create with the help of artificial intelligence, it should only be in the benefit of the other human beings and other living creatures. And the second is consciousness. Buddha teaches consciousness, to be aware about our actions. And if we are aware about our actions, and then problem will not be, then there will certainly be not any problem with these advanced technologies, but rather it will be used only for the benefit of human beings. As we can see that it is also helping in terms of healthcare, in terms of mental health issues, in terms of climatic effects. And with these super intelligence, human race can really change change the entire world in a very positive way.
Right.
And yeah.
Right, you rightly said the whole world can be changed in a positive way through AI. It all depends upon our way of using it. If we use it in an ethical way, then of course we can get the maximum benefit out of it. But if we'll be misusing it, that can be a disastrous and catastrophic.
Exactly.
Rupa, please tell us about your venture. You are the CEO of AI Beehive. So, what is the mission and vision of AI Beehive, and how AI Beehive is working as a catalyst in the field of AI?
Well, AI Beehive has been founded by keeping in mind the current education system. So while I was growing up and while I was going to school and colleges, so found that there is a gap in our education system, right? Well, there are lots of education system teaches us lots of knowledge and technology, right? And but what they fail to teach is the more human values and the values which are and the skills and values which are more important in real life. For example, a lot of people, lot of students, as well as even I have been suffering for a long time with self-doubt and self-limiting beliefs. And when I have interacted with many people, and I found that this problem is quite prevalent, self-limiting beliefs, and it happens because the way we are being conditioned.
Right.
So with AI Beehive, we have developed a different framework called Mindset, Concept and Application, which is an MCA framework where we not only provide the world-class technological knowledge in terms of in the field of artificial intelligence and machine learning, but we also help students come over their self-limiting beliefs by giving them constant motivation and support so that they become the best version of themselves, as well as incorporating the ethics of artificial intelligence right from the very beginning, because we all can be fascinated with the usage of artificial intelligence, but the challenges nobody is thinking right now what can be the challenges with these powerful technologies, and these best practices has to be drilled into the next generation from the very beginning, and this is what we are striving for. And so we are working as a catalyst in order to ensure that we create a generation with those who are more informed about the ethics of artificial intelligence, and they're more responsible, and they create a more responsible AI.
Thank you so much, Rupa, for explaining artificial intelligence in such an easy and storytelling way. It's been really insightful. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Poonam. It has been great interacting with you, and it's my pleasure being at Apex Media and talking to you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.